I have a bunch of podcasts to listen to, and I play games while listening to podcasts, so I'm just gonna get a recording done before I get into that, because otherwise I will get wrapped up in a bunch of things and forget. Also, I scrapped the one I was working on, so, can show this process. They have these 4 defaults, and then you can adjust them. And yeah, I'm gonna be tweaking one, but they call this one the default. There are actually things that get added in that I don't want, and then I strip out other things. But I called this, they can afford the bioengineering. I could still end up with traits I don't like. But with some of how I do the math, I don't multiply the money, I do multiply out how much of other components I got based on how much I got for one person. Like if I add another person to this one, the medicine and the starting food, I increase because this was based on starting 3 people. I'll add another weapon. I get rid of the goddamn pet. I don't want it. I don't start out having to deal with one. There's more than enough stuff to juggle. Also, I try not to have these scattered just because I don't want to have to actually hunt the map myself to find where they are, to allow them to be gathered, because they start out with X'd out, meaning you have to allow them. So I have to scour the map for them myself and enable them, which is a pain in the ass. So I just move that shit into start with. But so what I had done was I'd taken this, stripped out the gold, the pet, swapped out some other stuff, added some bioengineering, added more people. My addition to it. I mostly don't bother with the text, but I changed the allowed age range because, well, in the hope that it would limit some of the amount of wounds and other physical damage, that I want these to be healthy people going. Healthy people. And if they're too young, they only have their childhood background. They don't have an adult background that adds more potential skills and interests. So, also, if they're young, it means, I have more time with them, because I don't know if people can die of old age, but I don't want to have to worry about it. Not for a while. You're going to start with a bunch of that. Yeah. Now, the teetotaler specifically is the ideology I create has a no drug use, except for medicine. Medicine doesn't count, but no drug use. even in randomizing my starting people, I can end up with people that are chemical dependent or just interested, and that's counter to the whole ideology. And since, meaning I don't think that they should be able to spawn with that, so if I force teetotaler on, it's a conflict, so I can't get the ones that don't make sense to get in the first place. Also, since these are, rich bioengineered people, getting the best and brightest, I justify making the game much easier for myself in that way. But, I'm not wrong. Also, with this one, sending neurotic people that are going... Neurotic is actually one of the traits. But sending people out who can just suffer a breakdown at the slightest inconvenience, and there's a lot of inconveniences, or worse. No. So, yeah. Some of this is convenience, some of it just doesn't fucking make sense to me. So, I am kind of insistent. Also, because I upped it from 1 person to 4, I upped the starting weapon from 1 to 4. I think it's pretty straightforward. I could give myself new tech. I actually stripped that out. I don't care. Instead of crashing in a pod, I just have us standing up. I didn't add any extra money. But yeah. I haven't really poked around with these, because I don't really deal with it. I like the blurb for this one better. Lots of time, but I also pick this. Disease, mental breaks, and mad animals do still occur. And threats from your own people having snapped and animals going mad is actually the biggest threats I've had to deal with thus far. Charming as that is. And then, yes, reload at any time. I shy. I am not quiet about my avoidance of anything even remotely resembling hardcore modes. I play games on the easiest difficulty setting unless there's a good reason for me not to. The only reason my Fallout 4 is on the highest difficulty that isn't is because I can get more legendary items. So I get rid of those. I'm gonna add those. So yeah, the purple huts and the yellow are the safer things to interact with. I would have to get the 2 of them to like me before I think I can even trade with them, unless they come through. I have tried to go to them to trade, and that doesn't work. And then they're just outright aggressive. I do keep 1 hostile group, though I don't really have to. It will just populate the map with these. I do have it do the whole globe because I like scouring around for options. I like starting at least somewhat close to the ones I can actually trade with. And then we get to wait. And I had given myself marble as a starting material because it's pretty on top of being really strong, but it takes forever to fucking work. And I don't need the pretty so much as I need shit built to start. So starting with plasteel, which, especially if you're coming from space, you know, it's durable. The being flammable is or not is really the key factor. There is, I don't want to build shit that can burn. So wood is out. Steel actually has a 40%. It's not. It has a flammability. So it's out. So it's either stone, which is fucking heavy and slower to work, but oh yeah, I could just start with plasteel. It's strong. It works faster than stone. It's got more hit points than other stuff. But so ideally, it's temperate forest. And I only go in the year-round growing zone. But so like up here, well, being in arid shrublands, I could still grow some stuff. It's probably not going to have the fertility I would need to grow everything I would want, but it's not impossible. But so, and then I even have roads to be able to trade with regular people. It gets a little too hot, but that's just a thing. The stone types matters in that you're going to end up wanting to be able to build with the shit, so knowing what you've got available. Like, if I eventually want the prettier stuff, having marble be available is good, but sandstone is the easiest stone to work, so if you've got that, it's a good way to get the flammability issue under control without as much work. Roads make travel faster. Having a water feature interrupts what you can do. Also, people get cranky about being soggy for walking through it. But so over in there is what I would consider a viable option. Also, the nudists aren't going to be in areas that aren't warm. So they can be a helpful visual, or I don't expect they would be anyway. So I think they're probably a visual cue for where is in the temperature range that I want. This color green is temperate forest. This is more rainforest. Downside of rainforest is more disease. Also, it tends to be hotter. But, you know, it's plenty fertile. partners on road. Just how far? Okay, so about, and how far down? That was a big jump. Okay. So as much as I like the idea of being on an island away from threats, just as a general principle in this, that's unhelpful because then I can't trade. Like, I will get wandering groups of them, but there's no one for me to go to. Can't really get to you. Not conveniently, because hilly areas are slow travel. I gotta stop shimmying that around. So yeah, there's that spot, or there was another one, wasn't there? Yeah, over here. So, try shrubland or go for a rainforest or compromise on one of the other things I don't care about. I mean, you also get hotter than I want. Heat stroke is a thing. Even without heat waves at that range. That's another good thing about the temperate forests. So, what is the range if I plunk myself down here? Not as bad. Now, you also don't want to. I think it outright. I did it once and it outright gave me a warning that being within, I think it was 4. Basically, don't build on top of somebody else because they'll take it as a hostile thing, like you're trying to actually invade them. Just limestone and marble. I like the idea of that. Limits my options to the easier stuff. I see you. You're off the road, though. We're a little close, but not too close. It also means it's a shorter trip. There's a bunch of them, not too far away, and all down roads. Sure. Oh, right. I had mentioned about this. I could make that maximum screen smaller. Meaning, you know, if something shows up on it, I have a shorter trip to get to it, but also, you know, less potential stuff. It doesn't mind. That's the default. But the large ones, it gives you a warning. We didn't intend for you to actually play with these, so yeah. Don't be mad if they fuck up your game. I'll go with the slightly bigger normal one. Oh, nope, I'm too close. One, two, three. Okay. Guess I am off by one. Fine. And then all their stuff, and then yeah, a lot of these are more aesthetic, I guess, but also, you know, so allowed things, prohibited things. I like the idea of this one because of the it lets me actually grow and eat fungus. Nothing no one else wants to, and that's the only way to get the ability to, you know, tolerate it. This one, it's not that I don't like trees desired, it means that everybody is fucking miserable if I ever have to chop down a single tree. Ever. So I backed up to these. This one, I don't actually care about, you know, if people want to mess with their bodies or whatever. Drug use prohibited. I care about medical specialist. Those two things are why I've decided to add this. Nature privacy is you don't actually have to do the scarification. I can remove that part. But plant specialist. And then this removes two things that I would normally choose. But well, I'm not sure what other impacts that does have. I don't do the work drive thing, so that wouldn't matter. go forward without it. The biggest frustration I have, and I'm not the only one, is that if I don't remove that one, then other things will supersede it, which isn't what I want. I want this one to add new things, but be overridden with the other stuff. Is that, and I actually checked, there is a thing in for being able to save this. Don't want any of that. It's counterproductive. We can't save our ideologies yet. Meaning, every time you want to change, even if I just, if I set all this the way I want and then add a thing. I don't even get rid of these, I just add one thing, it resets the names of everything, it resets all of the decisions I made, and so it doesn't even save it in that sense, let alone being able to save this one that I've crafted because this is the way I want to play the game, and then be able to use that going forward. I need it for both reasons. Having to redo this every fucking time is obnoxious. And I hate the random fucking names they give shit. But no way to save any of it. But since I don't like the names, I'm not just going to leave the defaults. It's technically indoors, but so correct. Don't care. Don't care. Meat is meat. Can't change that. A lot of these I can't. This just, I don't actually care, but you end up with weird sleeping arrangements because you have single beds or double beds, and if someone has more than one partner, somebody's going to be unhappy about sleeping alone because I can't set them to share it. They have single dedicated sleeping spaces. I can't set it to whichever one you want. So that's more that. Is actually how I want that. Also, stop giving people stupid fucking hats. Because I'm tired of, trying to come up with clever names for things. I just name these what the role is. Get rid of the stupid hats. No. Not technically required if I can remove it. There might be 4 things. First one. so I know what the fuck they're actually doing. You can only do the at any times once in every 20 days. Pick one that looks more flower-like. I do not want these. I've never actually gotten one. There's a quirk in the quests for that. That I may or may not be able to even get them because it released base game and then royalty, which I don't have and I'm not using, and then this ideology one. And the quests you get to get hints to find a relic, you can get one that populates failed fields and will never actually happen because it requires royalty stuff, which you don't have. This has already been reported. It was reported by someone else before I even noticed the problem and went looking. But I added that, yeah, I am also having this problem, but this isn't technically a bug. This is the game should auto-detect that, and it's not, and it's creating a problem. But these are single-use items, apparently, that mellow out everyone or all the animals in an area. At least that's my understanding of them. But again, I'm more just naming things descriptively. No. Okay. So there's a chance for you to have any of them. I don't actually have a preference. I might as well show these though. So minimal is, head. I guess my defaults are rare, except for those are actually not. But you can see all the little hairstyles you can end up with. There's some that I like more than others, so I make them more common. Most of them I don't care enough. The female hair is mostly just kind of dumb. I do disable bowl cut. And this is more just that is the way I would wear my hair. Or just a plain ass ponytail. But they don't give you that option either. They give you the overgrown pigtails version, which is, I guess, fine. These are all No beard is fine. Stubbles, fine. There's a couple of these that I might get rid of. Even if I can't really see their face as much, I just... basically, no. Facial hair I wouldn't want to have to deal with in real life. Can just go. That's not judging people that have some of those. It's more of a... I don't like the look of it, and I certainly wouldn't want to have to see it every day if I could help it. I'm not going to tell someone to shave their beard to be my friend, but I will maybe give them a little shit about some odd styling choices. Yeah, I don't have anything against any of the tattoos. None of them are particularly weird or bad to me. It's more just I don't really care. You also don't notice them all that much unless they're big, and then, oh look, I can actually see a black spot on that white body. I go through and fuss with those anyway, even though it mostly doesn't matter. But, yeah. And then there's this. So, passionate, 100%, super passionate, even better. I mean, they're also faster learners generally, but the bigger thing about the being passionate or not for me, especially since they're faster learners anyway, is more they derive enjoyment from doing these things. And because they're predisposed to being fucking miserable all the time, being passionate about the things that I need them to be doing anyway helps. Also, they get better at it faster, but something that will make them less miserable at least some of the time. But, so, the things, bare minimum prerequisites for me. This needs to be empty, this needs to be empty, so. First thing I do is go through and get, and yeah, some people end up with more of those traits than others, but the first thing I do is go through and get everybody to that. So technically, incapable of violent is fine because I don't do hunting, but I do also have concerns, but it also means this, meaning they can't defend themselves. So, social also means that they can't do any of that, and some of that is relevant to other things, like counterproductive to this, because tending to injured people involves talking to them. So no. Yeah. Research isn't the only point of intellectual, but I mean, artistic, I could make a case for not needing everybody to be able to do it, but I prefer people not be. Oh, dumb labor. I should. Now, not all these people are actually going to be useful. Like, great that you're super passionate about shit that doesn't matter to me. But, this one, one, when you get stressed out, you're going to burn things. Fuck you, no. 2, you won't put fires out. Fuck you, no. That one's a bit more common sense. And then there's, efficiency problems, pain problems, no, I'm sending healthy people, damn it. Plant work is kind of important because, that gets done a lot. Also, plants being a thing for mine should disable certain kinds of things for that, but it doesn't. I suppose it would make it more complicated, but really, our ideologies should influence those capabilities and the traits that populate. Not that I can't just, keep re-randomizing and re-randomizing. But cooking is important, but not that important. Well, it happens often. Plants and animals. Those are at least useful. The ones that don't matter at all to me are the shooting and melee. Mining happens a bunch, so if people were happy doing it, that's fine. I don't need it. Construction, some things, building them takes the minimum skill level. But you also end up building enough things that if they're happier about it, that's not so bad. The skill level thing on its own, again, because they're faster learners anyway, don't really give a fuck. They'll get there anyway. Just because I have to build enough stuff that somebody will eventually be competent enough. This doesn't summarize all of them, and I see that as a downside because things like social, that's super important. Trade is based on that. Your ability to assign a leader. Your moral guide should have a good one because their ability to do their thing is based on it. So this should summarize all of them, not just this highlight reel. You're not passionate about anything that matters that isn't already covered. So I'll just recycle you. You're mostly overlap. I'm also kind of disappointed when they only care about like 2 things rather than, a handful. This also doesn't show crafting and art, and both of those and mattering. Crafting and art. I do try and keep in mind the roles that would eventually need filling. None of you can do social. so this won't work. Yeah. That would at least cover that some. Really, I should have two. You cover the plants, so you're really just covering medical. Plants is more than covered. Arguably, I could use you in a different way, but having more than one person good at the plants means that I don't have to have just one person dedicated to them. You don't have to be that good to cook pemmican. You just cook a lot of it. Even if they're not coming with me, I don't like seeing those. I actually prefer that to also be blank. It's just, it's not essential. You're overly enthusiastic about some things that don't matter, but right, animals and social don't show up. Animals, social, crafting, and art. Yeah. Which I do have covered. I have at least one person who likes the intellectual, meaning they can stand there and research and be happy about it. Two different people that can do the talky bits. Yeah. If anybody who actually watches any of the videos I make hadn't figured out kind of early on that I am remarkably fussy, wasn't paying attention. So yeah, this is part of why I don't want stuff starting away from me, because I have to hunt it down and allow it all manually. So that's well, I'm going to change more things and then overwrite that. But might as well get a look at the layout. So Seeing that green means jade. Jade is one of the easiest things to see from even far out. Compacted machinery is second on that list. Oh, more than one spot. Jade is really good for making art. Oh. I'm pretty close to one, so I might as well. But see who. Not a whole lot to break down. Just that over there. Everything else is just stuff to be mined. Yeah. Jungle. Yeah. Double click on things to see what's what. Oh. Yeah. Nice and fertile. Some hot spots. Now, I like the idea of building over this the limestone stuff, so that I'm not taking up useful space, but I would also have to mine all this out of the way to be able to do that, so that doesn't happen right away. Other than that you can't put flooring and walls over soft, wet ground. So yeah, just setting up basically where I've started seems fine. It's not too close to that. I think the wall would have to be here to have that abut the building when I actually have geothermal to build over it. It insists on looking at storage to recognize whether or not you have something, which is frustrating, but could be worse. To start out with one big room is easier. I can partition it out later. But it does also require support in the middle. If I make it too big. So you have to get that out of the way so I can build anything there. It will build a roof on its own. I'm going to clarify it. I have disabled the automatically expanding the home area because it gives you this wide berth that makes people clean the outdoors, which I don't want them doing. So, but also lug shit to there. Just do that so people have spots. Oh, right. Can do that for now. Anything fancier than that can wait. I guess I'll add the door where that hole is. But I also have to tell them to equip these. Now I'll do that. Might as well. No. Take a look at a bunch of panthers and a cobra. Yeah. The options for wildlife are different because it's a different area, which is fine. Oh, I forgot to change two other things. One, do these things whenever. Two, this shit's all wrong. Neither of these matter yet. All of you do these. Oh no, actually. Yes. All of you do those. All of you do those. None of these are happening at the moment. All of you can do those. And then. Oh. God damn it. Plant cutting will actually train the plant's skill. So the people that aren't good at the growing part get to do the cutting part. Because that's different from harvesting crops. Haul is a higher priority, just generally, because people need to get that shit done. That was the other thing that I needed to do for this to actually be a starting point, because all the very basics have been addressed. And I have been at this for a while, I'm sure. Yeah. That process can go a lot faster for people who aren't me.